Hey guys, Alex from 7th Hour Films back again with Frieren. Last time around we had the height of magic, where basically the battle continued. Fern and Frieren were able to defeat other Frieren, and everyone else was dealing with the other replicas. Lavina and Richter were taken out. Unfortunately, they had to exit with their golems, but eventually they were able to kill the Spiegel, and everyone that was left went down to pass the test and see all the treasure that awaited in the treasure room. And when they couldn't find Frieren and Fern, they looked to their right, and Frieren was deep inside of a mimic. That could sound bad out of context. I don't know. I mean, not really. It's a mimic. Mimics, they eat you. So, yeah, and Fern, was just one step away from just doing like a Captain Picard, face palm. So, yeah. That's pretty much where we left off. We're moving on to the third test. Maybe. Might be waiting for season 2 to get that third test, but we got 2 more episodes left of this season, so we will just have to see. I did also hear the news, the good news about the Dacia Sandero. That Frieren Season 2 is going to be premiering next year. They're going to take a bit more time on it. They're going to release it in 2026, so that's totally fine. I'm excited for when that will come out. So, in the meantime, we have these 2 episodes, and then we're going to move on to another series after this. But, like always, the reaction is down in the description and in the pinned comment for your viewing pleasure, so let's go ahead and jump right into this episode of Frieren. Here we go. Even if the third test wasn't the interview with Zaria, I could see this same outcome happening, that Fern passes and Frieren doesn't. Just because it's mainly just a thing of like, well, Frieren, Frieren didn't care in the first place. Not that Fern cared in the first place, really, but Frieren just needed this to cut through some red tape. That was it. Man, them flowers, though. I do like that in that, Himmel could see it's like she was being so cold. There's just nothing, no human connection there. So she made the flowers, Like, to Frieren, she was probably just being like, yeah, village is over there. Just looking over, and it's like, huh. He's not feeling better. I'm not good at this. Flowers. Got it. Flowers. He's feeling better. Alright, good. That's that really, that's exactly what her thought process was, of she recognized exactly the way, exactly the way Hyder said, she knows her own flaws, She understands her own flaws, and 100 years ago, when she met Himmel when he was a kid, she recognized, like, I'm not doing this right. I am giving him the information, but he clearly doesn't feel good about this. I must not be saying it right. What do I do to make this kid feel better so he will get back to his village? And she knows, like, flowers. The old classic. It's the old classic flowers. Which I really like that. I really like putting that little information, that little flashback in of Himmel as a child, It's because of that he saw the beauty of magic. It was magical. It was magical. Like, Zaria, there is a reason it is called magic. But Zaria, it's too late for her. She's too closed off, And man, just the fact that, like, and I love that part too, where, because they set it up with Kana, that it's like, oh, the sight of my magic has petrified you. So get out of here. You're nothing. You're garbage. But with Fern, she's like, oh, the sight of my magic has stopped you. But then she looks again, it's like, but not in the way of the others. Like, the others were, like, kind of scared, basically, about that. Whereas with Fern, she looked at it, and she saw magic. Magic. Man, we just ass blasted through test 3 right there. Just an interview. Yeah. Well, here's the thing for Lavina and Kana. I guess it might make Lavina feel better. Like, well, Kana failed too, you know. But perhaps, I mean, either they can now just hang out together, try again in 3 years, or I don't know. We assume that they just wanted to be first class mages. You know, they're taking the test to take the test. You know, like unlike with Frieren's party and with Denken, you know, they don't have their need of being a first class mage is just to go north. You know, it's head to the northern lands. So if Lavina and Kana need to go to the northern lands, then hey, team up with Frieren. You know. Can you imagine? I don't know if Stark can take that. It's been so long. It's been so long. I don't even remember how to pronounce his name. I don't know if Stark could take that because like he already is on like round the clock Fern duty. You know, like both of them are, but him in particular, he's always walking on eggshells. Imagine adding Lavina into that. I don't know. The poor guy might not make it. But man, human, an era of humans. Man, I feel like they crammed a lot into this episode too, because it's also had, you know, Fern's staff. You know, she didn't want to throw it away. She wanted it to be fixed because genuinely, it's one of 2 things that she owns. You know, she has her staff and she has the bracelet that Stark gave her. You know. And the clothes on her back. That's like all she owns. Well, and I guess I assume she still has her locket that has the picture of her family, you know? So it's like she has very few things. And yeah, you gotta get, she wants to, especially because Hyder gave her that staff, you know? And with Frieren, it's not that she just didn't, she can't communicate properly, you know? She can't communicate properly sometimes, you know? And it's the same thing like with the Himmel situation where it's like she was communicating these things that weren't necessarily bad, but it's sending the wrong messages to the person, you know? But here she had to take the bits of the staff. It's like, you know, because what she probably said was, it's like, well, it'd be really difficult to get that fixed. You could just trash it, get yourself a new staff. She didn't mean anything by that. She was just sharing the options. Fern got pissed, you know? Fern got pissed about that. And then after she was probably like, okay, not what I meant to do, but okay. So she took it and was like, okay, selling it is out of the off the table. I will go see if I can get it fixed somewhere around the city. And eventually she caught up with Richter and he was able to do it and ruin his day. Poor guy. But man, oh man. Man, oh man. Such great stuff. There's so many things in this episode, you know? Because then there's the whole thing with Richter, where it's like, you know, don't get so disheartened that you didn't make it, you know? Like, come on! You'll 3 years. Think of how much stronger you'll be in 3 years, you know? Like, he's still relatively young. If I were to guess, I wonder if the wiki says how old he is, you know? If I were to guess, I would say he's probably in his early to mid-30s, which probably means he's in his mid-20s. So, Frieren Richter. Cool, it just doesn't say. I mean, I don't know. At the very least, it describes him as a middle-aged man. 30s is not really middle-aged. I have to also say that specifically because I have a brother who's in his mid-30s. He's getting around there, actually. He's still, I guess, technically early 30s, but he's not middle-aged. And I'm not going to be middle-aged in 10 years when I get to that point. So, like, middle-aged, I guess that's the problem, is what defines middle-aged, you know? What defines middle-aged? Because, like, I don't know, I guess 40s, maybe mid to late 40s, but I don't know. How old is Denkin? Can we see how old Denkin is, maybe? Denkin is 77 right now. Wow. Okay, well, I mean, hey, he's got freaking... And no wonder he needed to... no wonder he needs to get there. It's like, you know, in 3 years, he's going to be 80 years old, so... Man, the fact that at 77, he could still, like, put up a fight, and not even just magically speaking, I mean when they did the fisticuffs, but... Man. But yeah, Richter, even if we say, like, well, he's probably around his mid to late 40s, like, that's still plenty of time. Still plenty of time. You know what I just realized? Because I was about to say, it's like, yeah, you know, plenty of time, you can get stronger, but I mean, you stop and smell the flowers, and I just realized, like, oh my god, that's just Zeria's problem. Zeria's whole problem is that in the thousands of years she has been alive, she has never stopped to smell the flowers. And of all the people who have ever lived, she could, you know? I mean, I will say that does make it very interesting, you know? Because with the other elf characters that we have in this show, the main one being Frieren, but also Kraft, the two of them, like, they have that, you know, stop and smell the roses kind of thing. So I like this idea of this character, a character with infinite life, essentially, who does not stop and smell the roses, you know? Because you never really see that. A lot of times when you see these sort of immortal characters, these ancient beings, you know, it's like, no, they have a different perspective on life. But Zeria kind of lives... She kind of lives like anybody else, you know? She has the same ideas as a human, you know? She has all these ideas about magic that humans do, you know? If anything, she may be more human than Frieren is, you know? But then again, it's like they both have different aspects of humanity, where Zeria has this, you know, power, this ambition, all of this stuff, but that holds her back, you know? Whereas Frieren has the, you know, the nice simplistic side of humanity of, you know, enjoy the time you have on this earth, you know? Enjoy the time, do the things you like, you know? Like, what does Zeria like? You know? Does she like anything? Does she have hobbies? I don't think she has friends. She badmouths every human apprentice she's ever had. Now, by that logic, has she had any elf apprentices? You know? Has she had any elven apprentices? We don't really know. But yeah, it's like they both kind of... I guess that's basically it, is they both take the different aspects of humanity, but only one of them is more suited to their you know, eternal life, basically, you know? Because Zeria sees all these things, and it clouds her judgment on the world, you know? It clouds her judgment on the world and humanity and just creatures in general, you know? She scoffs at the fact that Frieren conceals her mana, you know? It's like, oh, think about, you know, all that you could have achieved with that. And it's like, well, she'll still achieve stuff. She's immortal, you know? And Fern can achieve these things too, better than most other people, because she was taught that from the beginning, taught how to conceal her mana, and now it's become second nature, you know? And, Zeria talks about, like, well, it's something that requires centuries of work, which Frieren has, or you have to be a prodigy, which presumably Flamma and Fern are. But even then, maybe this is a question, is Fern a prodigy, or did she just have a good teacher? There's an interesting question. I mean, you could even say, like, both Flamma and Fern, maybe neither of them were prodigies. They had, they had good, they both have good levels of magical power, but it could just be that it's like, they were taught by people who have thousands of years of experience. And so because they got that all at once, and, it's like, after 1,000 years, here's what Frieren knows, and, she knows what works, she knows what doesn't work. And that gets ingrained into Fern as a child, And in a sense, that probably also applied to Flamma. They honestly may not be prodigies, they may just be good, In the same way, I would imagine Denkin was never a prodigy, I think he even said something similar to that, where, he would see all these other mages, mages more powerful than him, that would eventually lose their way and stuff, and he's always just kind of been a sort of middle of the road. He's good. He's a very good, powerful mage, sure, but that's also at the age of 77, Yeah, maybe. Maybe that's it. It's not about being a prodigy. It's just about how you're taught, I don't know. But at the very least, Flamma and Fern, they see magic as what it really is. Magic. There is a reason we say, when we see something that is so fantastic, or, even so fantastic we cannot explain it, it is called magic. Like, we don't see something and say, wow, gun. Like, a gun is powerful, but a gun is not magical, And that's the thing, is that Zeria views magic as a gun, whereas Flamma, Frieren, and Fern, and Himmel, all view magic as just that. Magic. And yeah, so most people failed. Most people failed. Just because it's like, what did they say? Like, 12 people passed the second test. And this was by Zenza, who was known to not allow anyone to pass, That was an interesting thing, seeing, like, the different, kind of mindsets, Like, Zenza, she didn't even really respond, but she kept quiet, but she didn't, like, I don't know, she never had a look of, like, ooh, maybe I messed up, or, well, Zeria's right, or something like that. She kind of stood firm when it's like, oh, you devised this test, but this isn't right and stuff. She kind of stood firm of, like, this was my test, you let me do my test, I did my test the way I did it, and they passed, Like, she very much held true to that. Whereas, Mr. Glass's slickback man, he was like, whatever, these guys, I fully agree with Zeria. I was like, okay, why don't you go kiss her feet that are in frame, jeez Louise. And then the other guy, the first class mage, which that's also interesting. So he was also a student of Zeria, who's clearly powerful, but the way she says, like, you've always been just a timid boy. It's just like, huh. So strange, And the way she looks down on so many people, even her own students, is just like, why you gotta be a bitch? Just don't. It takes no effort to... It takes less effort to be kind than to be mean. Like, just... Why you gotta be a bitch? Just stop and smell the roses. Thousands of years! Thousands upon thousands of years you have been alive, and you have never stopped and smelled the roses? What is wrong with you? Like, grow up! It's exactly, you know, when Denkin says to Richter, it's like, oh, you're a petulant brat. And I know this because I was that way. I was probably more petulant than you were, you know? It's just like, if anything, Zedia never grew up. Zedia never grew up. She just, like, I'm just special, and I'm the best, and nobody else is gonna, you know, get close to me. So when someone, but she sees all these people who try to get close to her, and then she, you know, picks them off one by one at her leisure. So when someone like Flamma or Frieren or Fern, kind of, you know, but especially Flamma and Frieren, when they go their own way, when they look at her and they're just like, you're just a person. You know, everybody shits brown. Everyone bleeds red, you know? She can't understand it, you know? She's like, no, that's not, no. I'm the best. Everyone should try to be the best, but you're not going to be the best. I'm the best. Frieren could be the best, but why is she not being the best? Why is she not being me? It's like, because you fucking suck. Who wants your life? This sad existence. Just bitter and self-centered for all eternity. Like, just, how are you not tired? How are you not tired of that, man? It's just like, doesn't it get tiring being that self-centered for all eternity? But Frieren has failed. She knew she was going to fail. She absolutely knew she was going to fail. Fern passed. That's something. So they will be able to continue on to the Northern Lands, so. And Stark now gets his buddies back. he now gets his companions back. He's been gone. He's been Sunday chilling, you know, hanging out, sleeping, drinking, getting lectures from old men on a cliff. See, that's the thing, though, is for as nice as it's probably been for him having a break, which is fine. He's had a break. I think he is now 100% ready for them to come back, you know? He's 100% ready to leave this city and hang out with the two of them again because he is so tired of that old man lecturing him. Good grief. But that is basically it. We've got one more episode this season, and hey, the tests are done. Tests are done, boy oh boy. Now what are we doing? I guess we're headed north. We're headed north. Hey, if anyone else wants to tag along, I don't know if I guess we didn't see if Denkin passed or not, but anyone needs to tag along to the north, just say you're hanging out with Fern now. That's a trouble, isn't it? You have, if you get to go north, but you have to travel with Fern. And I love Fern. I think Stark loves Fern too. But if you don't love Fern, boy, that's hard. It's hard if you do love Fern. If you don't. But with all of that being said, I didn't do the outro. I started saying, with all that being said, I don't know. With all of that being said, either way, let's end it now. With all of that being said, I'm Alex from 7th Hour Films, and I will see you guys next time. Take care. Alright guys, thanks for watching this video. There's a bunch of links on screen if you want to go click around any of those. There's a playlist with all of my Frieren reactions, as well as another video you can go click on if you want. There's also a subscribe button and a Patreon button on screen, as well as other links in the description if you want to go check out any of those. See you guys later.